Ladies and gentlemen, this is the 1st of June. This is What the Show. We have a great night ahead of us. We don't have everybody here tonight, but we do have the two people who usually make this show as weird as possible. I am one of your hosts. I am AJ Lancaster, and we have another one of our hosts. It is Justin the Juice. Justin, how you doing tonight?
Doing fantastic. Ready to get spookified or whatever we're talking about tonight.
Yeah, it's a horror-centric podcast. We have a horror-themed guest that some people might know from the movie Trivia Schmodown, but probably know more internally from the Schmodown. That is the highly billed guest of Rick, the Rager, Radiss's agent. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, his agent. The Rager was unavailable for tonight's podcast. However, his agent is waiting in the wings for us tonight. We're going to be talking a little bit of all things horror from if you guys have any topics as far as, say, favorite horror villain or dumbest character in a horror movie, just anything at all. We're probably going to be touching a little bit on some of our favorite horror subjects. But waiting in the wings is, once again, Rick, the Rager, Radiss's agent. Mr. Taylor Cleek, how are you doing tonight?
Ta-da! It's exactly what you hoped you would get. Hello, how you doing, guys?
Doing well. Taylor, you do some things already in the space related to horror, correct?
Yeah, man. Yeah, I mean, I've been hosting a horror podcast for the last year called Really Scared with my good buddy Connor Breedlove. It was kind of like a quarantine project that we've managed to persist and make happen the last year and a half or so, and it's been a blast. Every single week we're joined by a special guest. We talk about a horror film of their choosing, and it's been a great passion project, great outlet.
Nice, man. Awesome. So, kind of a lifelong horror fan, or?
Yeah, absolutely. I would say basically my whole life. You know, I always like hearing people's sort of horror movie origin stories or like how they get to the genre, because I think everybody does have kind of an interesting journey there. For me, I'm from Northeast Ohio, like 20 minutes outside of Cleveland, and we had this like not specifically horror host, but like late night TV program out here called Big Chuck and Little John. And, kind of harkens to like your Elvira or like your Vampira, but like not quite as horror themed, but they would show like your midnight movies, like stuff you wouldn't play like during normal programming. And so I'd stay up past my bedtime as a kid, and I watched these movies that like I had no business watching. And was just like transfixed, like stuff like Candyman or Elm Street would come on, and like I'd be too scared to get the remote and turn off the TV, so I would just be like transfixed and traumatized and just watch the whole movie. And I would be genuinely scared for weeks and weeks and weeks, but like I just kept coming back to that experience. It's like that morphine drip, and now here I am. That explains the maladjusted individual you have in front of you here.
Nice. I get it. I had a little bit of that when I was young, right? Growing up with horror. My main thing was I was kind of the opposite though. Like if I was scared or if something made me like anxious or cringy and identifiable, like bad romance scenes and murder scenes were the same. Like grab the remote, change it quick. Okay, I'm gonna wait, count down to 30, switch it back, get through. But I really found a love of horror actually during the pandemic, which I think a lot of people were like, why do I need horror movies when I'm living one? Like, was a huge common narrative I heard. But right around August, September, right around there of last year, I just randomly started watching horror movies, and I found like that study with people that, who watch horror movies and find relief of stress, anxiety, those kinds of things. I started getting into that and started watching more and more. Like I've kept a Shudder account.
Shudder's great.
Before, nice. Yeah. and I never was a horror fan probably since I was like 16, 17 years old, and I'm kind of like a new old horror fan. So it's gonna be fun to kind of dive into some topics. So yeah, for your podcast though, what's your favorite movie you've covered?
Favorite movie we've covered? Oh man, it's so we've done kind of two formats on the show. Like last year when we were still like sort of figuring out what the show was, we were like a new release kind of review show. We would talk about news items because like you mentioned pandemic, you know, obviously theaters shut down and like movie distribution got so messed up. But like horror never stopped, you know, it like found its way to get out, whether it was streaming or Shudder, like horror just kept going. So like we had no shortage of good stuff to talk about. Whereas this year we kind of changed up the format. So where it's like our guests pick movies and they can pick any kind of movie. So it's like now we're hitting some of those classics and things that we never ever would have covered in the year prior. It's interesting, you know, because I think we still haven't covered like my personal favorite horror movies because it's not the goal. But one I will say just like immediately comes to mind, because what's cool about this new format that we're doing where the guest pick is like it's getting me to see stuff I hadn't seen before and in some cases hadn't heard before. Our very first episode of the year we had on Video Drew, which I should mention, you know, if obviously if you're in the Schmodown space, we've had a number of people from that world. I'm really scared. We had Video Drew, we've had William Bibiani, JTE, we've had Gold Leader on. This upcoming month in June, we're gonna have Ty Lieberman and John Roca on. So like we're getting all sorts of Schmodown folks in. Video Drew came about this movie called Baskin, and like
oh god,
do you know what that is? Have you heard of it? Because I hadn't. Heard of it. Brought it to us.
It's extremely like. That's one of the most graphic horror movies I think maybe in existence.
It's nuts.
It is.
It's nuts, and I hadn't heard about it even in any context before she came on. And like, as somebody who's pretty desensitized at this point, it's hard for me to really like get shook by a scary movie. Baskin, it's this Turkish movie that is just so graphic, so intense, so out there, but also has like this deep psychological element to it as well. She had picked it because she was like, nobody has heard of this and nobody will watch it. Like I wanted to talk to somebody about it. And now I feel like it's my burden in turn to be like, you got to go check out Baskin. Like you gotta like spread the curse. You gotta, you know, get this carnal knowledge out there. That, and then something I'll always recommend. I think most people have seen it by now, like horror movies, but one of the first guests we ever had on was my friend Alok Mishra, who's this film producer. He put out this movie called 1BR last year, which was like a huge Netflix hit. It's still on there. I can't recommend it enough. He's been a huge friend to us, but 1BR will always have a special place in my heart. It's a great movie.
Nice. I have not heard of 1BR. I'm actually going to make a quick note to check it out.
That one's not even like a 15th as gruesome as Baskin. So like anybody could sit down and watch 1BR.
Okay.
It's good. It's kind of more of a thriller, but it's got like a real like kind of Hitchcock flavor to it. I think it's great. It's director David Marmer's like debut feature, but yeah, I would recommend that one a lot.
Yeah,
sweet.
Oh, so some comments in the chat right now. One that just popped out to me. Danny, friend of the show, you gotta spread Baskin like It Follows.
Right? Yeah, yeah. You gotta spread. You gotta pass the baton.
No matter what that means.
That's funny.
It Follows is a great movie too. We haven't covered that one yet.
Yeah, funny with It Follows. I think that was actually the first horror movie I saw in theaters. Because
really,
like, ever?
Because my like horror, like I never as a kid watched horror movies. Like we watched King Kong in 2005. You know when it came out, and even that, like there was like the little like the natives. Like there was like one of them, like there was like a little kid that was like following him. He had like blood gushing down his face. And it was like, you know, it was nothing that was a big deal. But like that just image haunted my dreams as a little kid for like years. So like I never wanted to go anywhere near anything scary. And then finally when I got older, I was like, yeah, I'll watch horror, whatever. And so yeah, it Follows. I think it was actually the first one I saw in theaters. And I was like, yeah,
wow. That's super cool. Solid. I wish I had like a theatrical horror debut as strong as it. It actually aggravates me that I can't really nail down like if I had to define it, like what's the first proper horror film I saw in a theater. Like I don't have that distinct I really wish I did. The closest I can get to it is I can remember going to the theater with my friend and like I think it was my dad who was taking us to see Alien versus Predator. And I remember I can remember having the distinct thought in my head of like, wow, I've never seen a horror movie before. Like in a movie theater, this is gonna be crazy. Like I was a little nervous about it. And obviously anybody who's seen that knows it's just like a Paul W.S. Anderson cheese fest. But at the time I was like, this is the apex of cinema, the Alien versus the Predator. They did it.
I mean, my first horror movie that I remember seeing in theaters is the second Resident Evil movie. So we're gonna bring Paul W.S. Anderson into this.
Yeah, I think that was the only. I think that's the only one he didn't direct because I think he passed on that to do AVP.
He didn't direct 2 or 3.
3.
2 and 3.
He took a little vacation and he was like, you know what, Resident Evil just isn't the same without my artistic flavor to it. I got to come back and save the franchise. Thank God. Thank you, Paul.
So John Guts in chat, just real quick, he made me jealous mentioning that speaking of horror movies, I just ordered the Friday the 13th box set on Amazon. It has copious extras and new 4K scans of the original negatives for films 1 through 4.
Wow.
Ooh.
Wow. Horror physical media game runs deep, man. That's definitely a genre that I think there's a lot of like curators and distributors, a lot of passionate people who are like super committed. You see like there's like this imprint called like Vinegar Syndrome. I don't know if you guys are familiar with them at all, but they're like all they do is find the most bargain bin obscure, like objectively not good movies.
Like a chopping mall or
exactly like a chopping mall. Yep. Yeah, they'll find these ones that's like you would never even. The only way you could ever find a copy otherwise would be like to find some secondhand store that's got like some frayed up copy in a glass case or something. But it's like they restore them, put out these Blu-ray re-releases. Like it's crazy. Horror is very unique in that way. It's very much about the preservation of the thing.
And that's another thing that like I wasn't aware of. Is it Vinegar Prince?
Vinegar Syndrome.
Vinegar Syndrome.
Like I said, all objectively terrible things for the most part. So it's like you got to be like a particular kind of weirdo and be like, yeah, I want to spend money and own a copy of that. But like they're doing the Lord's work out there because otherwise this shit would just die.
Dude, that's really cool though. Like, I mean, things like a chopping mall. Like I accidentally did that and PG Psycho Gorman as a double feature, and it ended up being the best double feature I think probably of 2020 for me.
Psycho Gorman. That's one of my favorite movies that's come out this year so far. Psycho Gourmet.
So good.
I love it. It's one of those things you see it and you're like, only these people could have made this possible. It's such like a weird fusion of influence. Like it's like Mighty Morphin Power Rangers meets Gore, the movie. I love it.
With like little dashes of ET and like that little sociopath girl is just fucking amazing. If you've ever like talked to a 12-year-old girl, I have a niece about her age. It's like the same thing. Juice, are you familiar with PG Psycho Gorman?
No.
Can we do a live, if you want to cue it up, like a live trailer reaction? I want to see a reaction. We'll talk over this. Are you down with that, Taylor?
Oh, absolutely. It's a brilliant fucking movie. Any opportunity to get more people to see Psycho Gourmet, I think, is an opportunity worth taking.
And I had to do a VOD, but I believe it's on Shudder for free right now.
Yeah, I think you're right. I know that they did a Shudder deal, so I do think it's up there right now. It's one of a kind. It's super funny. I agree. That little girl, I know that was grating for a lot of people. They were like, God, that kid's annoying. But I'm like, yeah, but it's totally by design, Mm-hmm. Like a lot of movies with kid actors will suffer from that unintentionally, but they're like, yeah, let's make this kid the absolute worst as a contrast to like an intergalactic demon slayer.
Just a straight up sociopath.
Yeah.
It's fucking amazing.
All right. I think I got it.
Okay.
All right, here we go.
Let's do this.
That's my man. That's the Cheddar Goblin right there. There he is.
Now I remember.
Cheddar Goblin.
I'm a PG Psycho. Yeah, I have that too. Okay, we can do that also. How do I?
Oh, Mandy was wild. I think Nick Cage needs to have, if we have any sort of sections, like segments of the show, Nick Cage in horror just needs to be its own thing.
When did Mandy come out? Because I'm thinking of like a movie from a couple years ago.
2018.
Right. That was like a commercial or something in it.
Yeah. There's like there's a lot of weird sequences in Mandy, but yeah, there's one where he just kind of like zones out and watches TV in this weird heavy metal dimension he's existing in. And it's like a mac and cheese commercial, but it's Cheddar Goblin. He vomits mac and cheese all over the place.
Oh, wow.
Okay. Well, I think...
While this is being dug up, I just want to mention, real quick, 100% of Streamlabs donations to streamlabs.com/whattheshow/tip do go to charity. This month, it is Pride Month. It's June 1st. And every single dollar of our Streamlabs donations will be going to the Trevor Project. The Trevor Project is an amazing charity for anything that's reached out nationwide. This is one of my favorites because it does go out to benefit LGBTQ youth with counselors and counselor programs. Essentially, here's what goes down. LGBTQ youth are 4 times more likely to commit suicide than straight youth. It's really startling statistic, but another statistic came out that said if they had one supportive person in their life, 30% of that statistic goes down by 30%. The Trevor Project exists to be that person who can be there when there isn't one. This is a huge project. It's a huge charity. It's one that I think for nationwide charities, once again, is one of the best that we can be supporting right now. And if you guys just want to like bullshit, talk horror, talk about your weirdest and dumbest or favorite, most chilling, awesome, crazy horror experiences, donate in, let us know so we make sure that we catch your comment. But yeah, just a quick little plug there. Because yeah, we're what the show. Everything we do, we try to benefit something bigger than us. Because we're fucking small.
It's a great organization. That's a great pick. Good shit.
Yeah. Thanks. All right. So Psycho Gourmet.
So
yeah, let's pivot to Psycho Gourmet.
All right, I think I'm ready. Yeah, I have not even heard of this movie, so I'm excited. Let's do it.
Many moons.
Can you hear it well?
A nameless people
Yep.
was imprisoned in a place
So,
far beyond reach,
as you can tell, it's very different from
Taking
PG's Peggy Gubbins.
never to be released.
yes. This is not Peggy Gubbins' movie, though I will watch that if they made it.
Is that
I knocked my sunglasses off.
your planet will be torn to pieces, and I will trade your screams as I
It's so good.
Oh my god.
I want the same person to score this movie that scored like all the Wes Anderson movies.
You will suffer an eternity for this.
I would make. Oh yeah, they did The Void as well. I don't know if you've seen The Void, but I enjoyed that movie quite a bit too.
I will bathe in your blood.
The Void. I have not.
I'm worried.
It is very different from this. It is tonally much different from this.
He's gonna kill everybody, not unless I tell
Yeah,
him.
he also spends half the movie dressed like Dr. Alan Grant for reasons that are never elaborated on at all in the movie.
Weird.
Oh, the kid with the brain. Oh, I forgot about that until now.
She will slay the galaxy to endless servitude.
Sean gets. Is that Shaq Steele but zombified?
Yeah, it's got the production value, right, of like Super Sentai, or it's very identifiably like 90s
Juveja.
foam costumes and stuff, but then like also ultra violent.
It's like
Psycho Gourmet.
it's the violence of this movie is basically straight up on the level.
Alright, bye.
The violence in this movie is straight up on the level of the last episode of Invincible. Just, it's senseless. It's blowing up. There's guts and gore everywhere. It's fucking amazing.
Yeah, and Juice, I don't know if it came across, in us watching it, but yeah, it's Psycho Gourmet's this like interstellar super villain, like planet conquering monster that inadvertently ends up under the control of a young Earth girl because she got his like special amulet and has to listen to everything she says while like other aliens and things are coming to Earth to finally, he's vulnerable. They want to come and kill him. And so it's about their blossoming relationship. It's great. It's
awesome.
so good. It is I would change nothing about it.
There's little doses of like Goonies style like 80s adventure in there.
Yeah.
It's so good on such a low budget, and they show it for all the right reasons. By the way, real quick, we did get a $20 donation from Chick-fil-A employees saying, "Hey, we stole this old man's credit card. Quick, take his money." And we will indeed, we will put it to good use to the Trevor Project.
We'll definitely take some Chick-fil-A money for Pride Month. Go ahead and keep it cannoning over.
Oh yeah, 100%. So the chat is just they don't know what to do with Psycho Gourmet.
It's great.
So, I'm excited to watch it for sure.
I feel like that's one that you would. Jeff Altman actually is talking about how there's some insane inventive creature stuff and little boy turned brains incredible. Thanks for the spoiler, but it's Jeff texted me the day after he saw it, and we had like a huge conversation about. So he hated the little girl. I was like, no, she's my favorite part of the movie. Because of that, it is a divisive thing, and it's funny because it works in the things like Velocipaster, intentionally in bad movies, and I think this is one as well. Velocipaster doesn't work for me as much because it winks too hard. This could have existed, and this is just a VHS copy of something you could have rented in 1994 at Blockbuster.
Yeah, and it even more so, it's influenced by those.
Yeah.
It's such a weird smorgasbord of influence that like the people who made it, nobody else could have conceivably made it. Like it was truly their story to tell. And you mentioned I agree. Like intentionally bad movies, which I don't think Psycho Gourmet is an intentionally bad movie, because it's a fucking great movie. But I think it's an intentionally insane movie. But like the stuff that's bad on purpose, I don't really like. It comes out all the time and be like, check out this trailer for 6-headed shark hooker or whatever, and it's like,
wait, I actually really want to watch that one.
I just made that up. That's a free idea that I don't own the rights to. If anybody wants to make that, but it's like
Show Productions gives you.
Yeah, like I see that kind of stuff, and it doesn't really interest me at all. There was, I can't remember what it was called. There was this movie that came out last year that was about like a killer water park. I can't remember what it was called, but we were like,
Action Park.
Yeah, I was
a documentary.
gonna make that joke.
Yeah, might as well be.
There's teeth in the water slide.
Yeah, I can't for the life of me remember what it was called, but we unreally scared. We had like played with the idea of covering it, and then it like the more we looked at it, it was like there's just intentionally bad movies don't appeal to me. Like a good bad movie is one that has like obviously somebody that cares a lot about the movie, and it just doesn't work fundamentally in any way. Obviously like The Room's like the obvious example, or like Neil Breen. I don't know if you guys know Neil Breen, but that's that's the new, I think, pinnacle of bad filmmaking. But like the person at the heart of it doesn't get that it's bad at all. But Psycho Gourmet, I don't think is that. Psycho Gourmet is achieving everything it wants to achieve.
I think even Uwe Ball defends his stuff so much that he boxed critics.
Yeah, he will fight you.
Yeah,
fight you.
we had somebody who fought him on this stream at one point.
No way. Did they win?
No, they lost.
Oh,
Should I tell him, Juice?
tell me.
Yeah.
It's Jeff Snyder.
Really? I didn't know this.
Yeah, Jeff Snyder was in a boxing match against Uwe Boll.
Holy shit, I've never heard this story. So like I'm not, and I should be honest, I'll be upfront about it. I don't know like the deepest, Schmodown lore and such. I don't know the background of every single player and all that. I think I'm pretty well versed, but like I can't believe I missed this chapter that Jeff Snyder was in a boxing match with Uwe Boll.
It was like covered on like entertainment, like E or something like that. Yeah, dude, definitely check it out like soon because he got his shit rocked. He actually the outlet they worked for, I believe McWeenie was at that outlet at that time, and there were some other people who had written on Uwe Boll movies, but he never actually did anything like against him yet. He was just like the intern who was willing to go to a boxing match. Yeah.
Holy shit! What do you know? What movie Uwe Boll was defending? What like was this for House
It
of
was
the
just
Dead?
overall. It was just overall. Anybody who talks shit on him. Yeah. And he did this thing where he boxed against like 5 critics in one night.
Yeah, I knew Uwe Boll did that. I just didn't know Jeff Snyder was caught up in the crossfire. Wow, damn.
Yeah.
Uwe Boll should box like Jake Paul or somebody. That'd be cool.
Ooh,
Oh,
okay. But here's the thing. I actually really want to see that now because he's like, it would be like a Rocky versus the Russian kind of situation, except for like the Pauls are American imperialism. And it's.
I was thinking back to, I mentioned Alien versus Predator earlier. I was thinking back to the tagline of that movie, which was like, no matter who wins, we lose. That's how I feel about Uwe Boll versus either of the Pauls.
Oh, shit.
Ball versus Paul pay-per-view match.
I'd
They
buy
should get
that.
in furthermore,
I
they
would
should
not.
They should get Uwe Boll and Schmodown.
Rematch with him and Snyder.
Oh, that's it. No, that's it. That's your main event card right there. It's like, okay, Snyder went into Uwe Boll's jungle. Didn't go his way the first time. You hate to see that, but what can you say?
Jeff
Now,
in the name of the bowl.
yeah.
Jeff.
Now we need to flip the script and get Uwe Boll in to answer some movie trivia. He might be fucking good at it. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think he has a letterbox. I don't know if you guys have seen that.
That'd be.
I need to do the letterbox thing. I had a knockoff letterbox for a while. I got the Spoke was the name of it, but the thing about the Spoke was for the longest time, like you could just type in the name of a movie and it would also tell you where that movie was streaming.
Mm-hmm.
And but they tried to do the social media thing with it and never caught on. So I need to start letterbox at some point. I mean, it's not like I'm a Schmodown competitor. People won't be like documenting what I'm watching.
Spying on you. And if they did, they would have a lot of trouble studying against you anyway because it would be all Uwe Boll movies and he doesn't have his own slice yet.
If they did, it would be at least one Air Bud movie a week for the next 12 weeks, actually. So, random aside, anybody's watching right now, I am doing this new podcast. It is the Air Bud Cinematic Universe. We have the first episode recorded. When we have our second one recorded, it's going to be releasing about a week after, where it's a 14-part, totally relevant podcast on the entirety of the Air Bud movies and how they fit into the world's first established cinematic universe.
You guys doing all the
before
buddies?
MCU? Air Buddies and Santa Paws. Next week is the second week. It's Golden Receiver, which is the one with the Russian spies and football.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
Can I throw my hat in the ring and volunteer to come on for Spooky Buddies?
Absolutely.
Beautiful.
Absolutely. Come on for Spooky Buddies.
Yeah, because I'm, the guests pick the films over on my show, and I just don't know how long it'll take for someone to finally say I want to do Spooky Buddies. So that'll be a good opportunity for me to finally watch Spooky Buddies and talk about it on the internet.
By the way, Jeff Alterman mentioned this. When the first episode comes on, it gets way darker than you expect.
Well, the first
Air Bud?
Yeah.
The first, yeah, I haven't seen it since I was a kid, but like from what I remember, it gets pretty emotional. Like it's a heavy hitter.
It's a harrowing tale of both child and animal abuse. It's really fucked up.
I feel like that's also true for at least production on one of those Buddies movies. Right? I don't know which one it is, but if I remember correctly, the dogs had an especially not great time on one of those movies, and then they proceeded to still somehow make like 6 more. To this day, I think they're still going, right? There's like they've got more coming off the line.
The last one was the Super Buddies. I want to say it was 2012 or 2013. So,
okay, so it's on hiatus right now. We'll come back around. We'll do like a canon, like sort of soft reboot probably within the next couple years.
Yeah, we gotta get a couple generations of dogs afterwards. Do like the Young Avengers of the Buddies movies,
and they'll just call it Air Bud probably, like no number or subtitle. Or maybe just Buddies if you want to keep it in the Buddies verse.
Well, like one thing, and we're gonna be mentioning it tomorrow. Like the first movie, like the first Air Bud was like 9 years old when they made that movie, and they were saying it was a 3-year-old dog, and like that dog was 3 years old. Like fucking Robert De Niro was 24 in The Irishman. It's like it does not fit.
Like a dog actor has the same issue. Like you watch. What's like the classic example? Like you watch Grease, right? And the dude's got fucking wrinkles and like, and then
39 with sideburns and like fucking widow's peak. He's got this hairline. And he's in high school. I mean,
you're like, yeah, man. They said he's a puppy. That dude's 10 years old. This is bullshit. They got no integrity in this film.
It's about that level. So.
Good for you guys. I'm excited to check that out. It's a great opportunity to navigate that franchise that I have not had personally. So that's brilliant.
Yeah, it's a lot of dumb fun. We're gonna be talking some more dumb fun. Juice, Taylor, I'm gonna trust you guys to keep this carrying for just a second. I'm gonna sip
For sure. Yeah.
Juice. What scares you?
Many things scare me. No, speaking of letterbox, I just pulled up my letterbox, like my highest rated horror movies.
Yeah.
Some of the ones that stand out. Well, I think another one I saw, like a kind of a funny story with Conjuring and Conjuring 2. I remember seeing those, and I remember seeing that's the second one with a friend in theaters. And like we got to the point where it wasn't like that scary, but there was a jump scare that like got my friend, and like he audibly just yelled out. Like the whole audience laughed. I could not stop laughing at like how ridiculous it was. He just laughed. I had to leave the theater twice to like gain control of my laughter, and it still didn't work. But so yeah, I dug the first 2 Conjuring movies. I know there's like another one that's like coming out. I'm seeing ads for, but.
Yeah, in like a week or so. I'm pretty excited for that. I like those Conjuring movies a lot.
Yeah.
The different like spinoffs and things I don't really care for, like the Annabelle movies and the Nun and all that shit. I like the one David F. Sandberg did, Annabelle Creation. I like that one.
Okay. Yeah.
Outside of that, the spinoffs haven't really done it for me yet, but I'm looking forward to this new one. James Wan didn't direct it, so I was like a little hesitant about it. Shoot, what's the cat's name? I think I know it, but I don't want to fuck it up. Let's see. He did the La Llorona movie. His name is, but I didn't love the La Llorona movie, as I know a lot of people didn't either. Michael Chavez. Okay, that's what I thought it was. I just didn't want to butcher it. Michael Chavez. Yeah, he's doing this one and Juan's producing it. But anyway, I see a lot of good things coming out about it.
Nice. Okay.
Apparently, it like maintains the tone and heart pretty well of the first 2 movies. So, I'm looking forward to that. I love those Conjuring movies, and I still need to see the new Quiet Place too. But by all accounts, I'm seeing.
Oh yeah.
Apparently, really good too.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm probably just gonna kind of waiting until probably theaters die down a little bit. My first time back in a theater, I did a private showing kind of thing with some friends, and we were all spaced out. So I'm probably gonna wait until like week 3 of Quiet Place and go do that. Just kind of adjusting to being in the theater. But Conjuring, I have not seen a single movie in the Conjuring verse, and I've dived deep into horror over the past year. I've caught up with a lot of stuff.
I recommend the Conjuring movies for sure. I saw somebody in the chat was asking if they needed to see the spinoffs or just this. You can just see. I mean, as far as I know, as far as this new one goes, you could probably just watch the first 2 Conjuring movies and be good to go. The spinoffs like are pretty much that. The third Annabelle movie ties in pretty heavily into like the mainline films, but I think you'd be fine missing it. But no, the Conjuring movies.
I did see The Nun. Is that relevant?
It's I mean, like it's canon, but it, you know. I don't know. I didn't like The Nun very much either. I don't know. I don't know if you enjoyed it or not.
No.
Yeah, it wasn't great. But the 2 main Conjuring movies, I think, are really something interesting in that I think their strongest point is they have 2 great actors at the heart of it, right? They got Patrick Wilson and Farrah Farmiga, and then like they pull this trick, like I think a lot of horror movies struggle with, where it's like you're super invested in the characters in it. Like you actually give a shit about the protagonist. Like I feel like so many horror movies struggle with that, and then like the protagonist is just fodder for the next scary thing to happen, right? Like you want to see the scary things happen, but you know it's always going to be at the expense of the main character. Whereas like The Conjuring is like, oh, you care about these characters, you don't want to see bad things happen to them. So when they get scary, they're pretty damn scary, and they have like this weird wholesome like center to them, which is also weird because like the Warrens are these like real life hucksters, like scam artists.
They're actually terrible people, which kind of that's I think why I've held back on it. It's like sure you can say that they're like this paranormal like family Scooby-Doo meets Gore and Moldy Scully and Mulder kind of thing, but like I don't know. I also have the Greatest Showman syndrome a little bit, I guess.
What is that?
The Greatest Showman. Like
I got it.
Yeah, like how that guy was like a piece of shit, but the musical's great.
That movie's funny, right? Because he's like very well documented, P.T. Barnum, to be just out and out terrible, like exploitative, like borderline slave labor, animal abuse.
And it's like kind of Springtime for Hitler-ish.
And they're like, we'll make a musical, and I think we'll cast him as the most handsome, charming man that's ever lived, Hugh Jackman, and we'll make a bunch of wonderfully catchy songs that will play on the radio, and it'll make $1 billion, and it's gonna be a great time. And there's nothing even to really hint at like how messed up that guy was. They're like, I don't know, he like really cared about the circus so much that like his family didn't like it. That's like as close as they'll get. They're like, man, this guy
really cared about oppressing people. And, you know, I want to see that uncensored. Like Timothy Chalamet. This is a random aside. Timothy Chalamet in the young Willy Wonka movie. Like, let's show him enslaving the Oompa Loompas. Because they didn't come to work for him as like volunteers, and in the original book there's a deep metaphor there. You know, let's show some of the darkness. Like I hope that like these Conjuring movies, I don't know if they make these people out to be terrible people, but let's do it eventually.
They develop them into like almost these sort of like folk hero characters at a certain point because they were real people. But then, like, the events of the film are so far removed from anything that they were actually, you know, because they were, I don't know. I mean, I'm not going to pretend to know, like, the reality of ghosts and spirits and things like that. I'm not going to pretend to have any sort of authority on the subject. But, you know, they were pretty well documented hucksters where it's like anytime anybody through, like, a critical or skeptical lens would, like, approach the Warrens, be like, yeah, they're full of shit. Like, they seem like nice people, but they're full of shit. Whereas this is like, no. They're fighting demons. They go into their house and they're killing the demons. So it's like the movie version of them and the actual version of them is pretty disparate.
Now, what if in the last Conjuring movie they do this revelation that none of the paranormal stuff has been real and they've been charlatans and they've been terrible people the entire time?
Well,
what if you close the universe like that?
I'm sure they wouldn't do that, but like it is interesting what this new one's about because it's
It's
about
I don't want to see it.
it's like it's one of their like documented, I guess you could say, failures is what the film is about, where it's like got a weird like legal thriller aspect to it, where it's about the first person to like in a court of law basically plead non-guilty through means of like demonic possession. It's literally the subtitle of it's literally like the devil made me do it, and like that was what he had said in court. And it was that the Warrens had tried to prove, like, for sure he was possessed by the devil. We'll figure it out and prove it. So, like, in our world, that didn't really work out so well, you know. So I'll be interested to see how they develop that into a movie. But I like those movies. They're like horror movie blockbusters. Like nobody does it like James Wan does it in that ballpark. I mean, I know he didn't direct this one, but it looks good, and I've seen for the most part pretty good things about it. So I'm excited for that.
Real quick shout out to Jake Yacovetta, who donated $20. Salute to the best Schmodown related mustache. Juice is absolutely shitting on PLD and Ben Goddard. Also, thank you for donating to the Trevor Project. It's an amazing cause and deserves more visibility. Happy Pride Month, y'all. Happy Pride. If you're watching this right now at any point and you are part of the LGBTQ community, and you're ever having any sort of struggle, know that we believe in you. Know that I believe in you. Find me. And if you have anything that you ever need to talk about, you need support, I'm here. But we're going to let that be an aside and get back to goofing off and talking about fucking horror movies. So, Taylor, for you, and we're going to do this as a panel. Juice, if you have one too, please. Who is the dumbest character in any horror movie?
Oh, dumbest character. Wow. Huh. That's a great question. I wish I had like an answer ready to go for that. The dumbest character in a horror movie.
What are you thinking? I have to highlight John Getz saying Ben Goddard is just trying to look older so people start calling him Bagel Man instead.
You know, this is total dumbest character. I don't know if this is correct, and this is total recency bias, but I literally just got done watching David Cronenberg's The Fly, like 10 minutes before we started, because we'll be talking about it with John Roca in a few weeks. Cheap plug,
but what's Ty Lieberman going to be on for?
Ty Lieberman's doing the original Nightmare on Elm Street.
I'll be there.
Oh, nice.
And that's exciting because Ty obviously knows movies super well, as you've already noticed, I'm sure. He's fantastic, but he's not really a horror guy, and he's like, by his own admission, easily scared and doesn't handle them well. So we wanted to do like a classic and kind of walk him through it. So he's doing Nightmare on Elm Street. But I watched The Fly right before this, and like, just everybody is acting without any type of conscience or common sense. Have you seen that movie, the David Cronenberg Fly?
Oh yeah, I've seen both that one and the original, and I gotta say, the fact that they act basically with the same amount of regard in the original and the remake,
nice.
They look way dumber in the remake.
It's deeply upsetting, and obviously I'll talk about this at length when we talk about that movie on our show. But Jeff Goldblum, man, what a treasure! He's making such a meal of that performance. But his total disregard of like, everything's fine. I got these fly hairs growing out of my back. My fucking teeth are falling out. He's like, don't worry. Like I'm totally on the verge of something brilliant here. Just bear with me. Matter of fact, like, you get in a teleporter. You try it out. It's going to get better if you try it out.
That's just like any guy who really needs to go to the doctor, though, at the end of the day.
Yeah, which is me.
Yeah,
me for sure.
Raise your hand if you don't have really good health care.
My health care is okay, I guess, but not.
It's me. Gonna go ahead and do the.
Inherently, it's not, because I live in America, but I've become that stereotypical man who like holds off going to the doctor when he absolutely should. When all his teeth fall out and he's climbing on the ceiling, he's like, I'll figure it out. How about you guys? Did you guys have dumb horror movie characters? I'm trying to think of that one. I'm trying to think of one that I didn't
Trying
think
to
of.
think.
Before I give my favorite one, we do have a $25 donation from Lady Dog Brandy. Brandy, salute, cheers, everything. You are the most amazing. Basically anything that I can say that would get me in trouble with anybody else because you're amazing. I'm not a fan of scary movies, but I just wanted to come show some love and support you all and your charity XOXO. Brandy, thank you once again.
Brandy.
So the dumbest character in any horror movie ever for me is Carrie Elwes in Saw, the original Saw.
Okay. You think you should have figured out that twist?
No, it's not that. It's that when he's just out of reach of his phone, right? He's reaching for it, and he has this scene, right?
Yeah.
He can't reach his phone. You know what he has? The fucking saw that he used to saw off his leg. He could have hooked it and dragged it in and saved a fucking limb.
Could have just kind of tipped the phone maybe.
You could get the saw to your skin and then think about that. Like you could even break the skin, but I don't think you could actually saw off the bone without thinking, I'm gonna go ahead and just try to hook the thing.
That Jigsaw is pretty crafty, though. I don't know. He might have calculated that phone out to like the precisely perfect distance where he would like.
He's within inches of arm's reach. It is easily reachable with the saw. It's like literally inches out of his arm's reach.
Wouldn't that be a son of a bitch if that's how that movie ended? After all that, snuck the phone off the wall.
He realizes that he could have kept the limb, and then you just hear like the fucking Curb Your Enthusiasm music.
That'd be great.
Yeah,
directed by David Weedy.
He gets free, and like the credits just scroll as they arrest Jigsaw. Right over his face. Excuse me.
I'm that's like my number one. Rose McGowan and Scream's number two, but
Rose McGowan. Did you have anything ready to go, Juice? That inspired?
No, I mean, you got like probably somebody from like Anaconda or something. John Voight or somebody. I don't know. I can't. I haven't seen I haven't rewatched many of the horror movies that I've seen to be like, that's the dumb character.
How dare you disparage the name of John Voight in Anaconda? You can disparage the name of John Voight all you want, but don't do John Voight in Anaconda.
I just did it because of Brett Sheridan's.
Snake.
Yeah.
I love John Voight's character in Anaconda because his whole thing is like he's super hyped about the snake. He's like, fuck, I love that snake. I just want to create scenarios in which the snake eats people. He just loves it.
So wilderness horror movies, that's a category that I think needs to come back. And I just need to know, what are your thoughts on The Meg?
I love The Meg. That movie rules.
I haven't seen it.
Yes.
I'll Uwe Boll anybody who wants to say that movie's not a good time.
That movie was for me the number one studio comedy of the year.
Yeah, that movie, because that's just it. That movie knows 100% what it is. You know,
and fucking Dwight knows 10 times more what movie he's in. Like self-awareness is on display. They cock tease you with fucking Jason Statham punching the shark as much as possible. It's like Hot Tub Time Machine with the guy who loses the arm. It's so good.
Yeah. No, because what we were saying earlier, where we're like, I don't really like, movies that are bad on purpose. And that's totally, the shark subgenre. I love that The Meg comes along. It's like studio budget, a couple millions upon millions of dollars. We got movie stars. We make this super campy, non-self-serious shark movie. I feel like it's a craft that's not well executed these days. Not since Deep Blue Sea have we seen somebody pull that off. They're making another one. I say hell yeah.
They totally are.
Make 10 more. I saw in the chat here. Crawl. That's a
Crawl's
goddamn
fantastic.
awesome
That was
That's,
the recent one, right?
That's actually
just
a
came
really
out?
smart one. Yeah, it's 2019.
Yeah, 2019, yeah.
It was really smart and well done. I mean, had its moments of ridiculousness, but I love ridiculous like man versus nature horror, like a Meg or let's see here. There's some other things I just need to bring up here. Milk Toast Pictures saying, "Would you clap Jason's cheeks?"
It's a complicated question. We've seen a lot of different Jason Voorhees over the years. I
He's
think
always wearing like cargo pants, so.
Well, I think it's assumed that we're two consenting adults, one alive, one dead. We will remove our clothing before we proceed. But no, I don't know. I don't think he'd be a very tender lover.
Yeah.
Really, in any iteration.
He could be a freak though.
Maybe when he takes Manhattan. Maybe when he takes Manhattan, and it's like, oh, night on the city. You have a couple drinks in you, and you do some shit you regret later. But like, for the if you're out in the woods,
my thing is like he's a prude, so he could be a freak. Like
he's a freak for sure.
Yeah, like whether that's a good freak or a bad freak, whether he like tries like knife play, that's a bit much.
I think here's the thing though, is he's got a lot of repression. I think that he's got to deal with because
those repressed issues that can be fun, but if it turns into knife play,
I just think so much of Jason's time is spent punishing anybody for being sexually promiscuous, and I do think it is probably one of those things where like, I
think he's a sub in bed.
It's either that or I think he could be as George Lucas was once described by his ex-wife, sexually unimaginative. I could see him being sexually unimaginative, but he's spent so much of his time killing people for living sexually free lives.
See, Jason Voorhees probably has the same kind of in-bed proclivities as like a Republican senator. By the way, all donations to streamlabs.com/whattheshow/tip do go to this Trevor Project. I am so sorry.
No, 100%. 100%. If you're a Republican senator and you're like, you need to work some shit out, and like deep down you're passing all this legislation that harms the very people that you deep down you are. Here's a secret little way. Well, it's not that secret because I guess you'll read it out on stream. But and there's like complications of being a politician and receiving and giving donations, just like you would want to receive or give something else. I don't know. You just express yourself.
Joey Burrows. Jason taps his foot under bathroom stalls at airports.
That would happen. Yeah, that would be the scene, right? He would tap his foot under the stall, and then like Newt Gingrich or somebody would like look on over, like, "What's going on over there, buddy?" And then you just get a Voorhees fist through the stall, just fucking knock his brains out.
So I'm really glad that you're adjusting well to how our streams always end up.
Talking about Newt Gingrich getting his brains punched out.
It's not the weirdest thing, for sure.
Yeah, no, it's.
Oh, wow. So, okay, here's one. I mean, who would be the sexiest horror villain then? Who would you consensually knock boots with?
That's a great question. Sexiest horror villain. There he goes. There's Newt. See you, bitch. Oh man, I know we want to keep it movie exclusive. I've been playing a lot of Resident Evil Village lately. You guys interfere with that?
We know who you're about to talk about. Yeah.
Well, it's pretty interesting to see how the internet took to that Dimitrescu character, because she does turn into something quite horrific throughout the game that is not very very sexy. Who's sexy in the mainstream horror films?
Let's see here. Okay, I have one that's fucked up,
Spill it. Spill those beans.
Patricia Arquette in Stigmata.
That's a move. You know what?
That was actually that's like actually maybe my awakening. That is a forever crush.
Yeah.
And I come from a really religious background at that time. So that's I think probably one for my therapist and then maybe a future stream.
You know who would be good? And I'm not saying you could really probably spark up any kind of meaningful relationship, but just for like one pure night of passion and like complete just release, you got to fuck around with those Hellraiser cats. The Cenobites, they would peel off all your skin, spit on you. Beautiful stuff. They're out there. They're into some weird tantric rituals and things like that, coming from a different dimension. I see Connor thinks the Leprechaun will be fun. Yeah, sure.
Leprechaun, yeah. The entire cast, and that means possessed animatronics included of Willy's Wonderland. Like, there's a lot of.
I still have not watched Willy's Wonderland as much of a Cage fan I am.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Okay, so this movie, it's first of all, it's a movie that came out in 2020 or 2021. So it came out this year. It's a movie that came out in 2021 that is under an hour and a half long. And this is how it plays. It plays like a fucking theme park ride.
Right.
Like I got done watched the credits because the credits are like animated like a theme park ride. I just started it over and went through again. Like, yeah. But everybody in that movie fucks.
They fuck?
They fuck.
Really?
Not each other. Like, but they shooting wise, cinematography wise, they fuck. They great.
Fuck. Good for them.
The Leprechaun meets Lady Domesco sex tape. And this is it.
That could be fun. Yeah. I see Salma Hayek, Dusk Till Dawn. I wish she was what was her name? Santanico Pandemonium, if I believe right. Yeah, she's good. Also, you get Tom Savini with like a revolver, like groin hookup. That was a great. That could be pretty sexual. The female gremlin from Gremlin. That's great. I like that a lot. With that mouth, do no doubt.
Okay, what about like a sequel to Teeth called like Nibble?
A sequel to Teeth? You said
called like Nibble.
Nibble or nipple?
Nibble with a B.
What did I miss?
John Getz. AJ, that was a porno I linked you. Of course it's short. And I'm just attributing it to that pitch. I am so sorry, John Getz.
Well, I think you could also greenlight a film called Nipple. That's a sequel to Teeth, too. That would be about monstrous nipples trying to eat you, right? Like, I don't know. Just throwing things out there. Shoot me a DM if you want to fund that.
Lady Domesco. Dimitrescu? I don't know how to... Lady D donated $20. Me and Jason did it once. He was soggy. Freddie, on the other hand, he knew how to talk dirty. So this has officially become Horror Talk After Dark. We are going to be facilitating your favorite fan fiction. If you have any fan fiction that you want me to read, we'll do it.
Let's dim the lights.
Okay. Yeah, I love fan fiction. What do you guys want to read? I love a little fanfic, OC edition. I used to host a Sex and the City podcast, and I did some pretty intense.
Wait, what the fuck?
Yeah, it's completely unavailable on the internet right now, but maybe again one day. Yeah, we used to read some pretty erotic fan fiction. Who would we want to see kiss each other? What are you thinking?
Okay, we need Melina from Mortal Kombat.
Melina and Cheddar Goblin? I don't know if anybody's
Cheddar
I don't know if anybody's written that Cheddar Goblin Ex Melina fanfic. Romantic. I gotta put that.
If
in
you've
there.
written a Cheddar Goblin Ex Melina fan fiction, please let us know in the Streamlabs link.
I see a Melina Scorpion fan fiction.
We need somebody who's like outside the franchise.
Sonic
like-
the Hedgehog.
I mean, that's good.
Oh, what about
That's really good.
The Goomba.
Goomba. Romantic fan fiction.
Or
Yo.
that guy.
Meanwhile,
Fun in the Mushroom Kingdom. Chapter 1.
homie's stuff here like
I know that's right.
Wow, I found something really aggressive called Fun in the Mushroom Kingdom.
I think we could use a little Jeff Alterman. Get him.
Melina and Jeff Altman fan.
Is that encouragement to continue, or is that a hit the brakes?
No, like if you want to do it. Let's run.
I don't know. I'm seeing a lot of really intense phrases in here. Jesus Christ!
Give me one phrase. Give us one pull quote.
Let's see. You want a quote?
Yeah, just a good pull quote. You mentioned some intense phrases.
This is quotes. Talk about having a pussy face. This is from a Goomba's perspective. Wow.
Nope. I don't want to know what corner of the dark web that you're on.
Her nipples erected. Wow. Who's this Goomba with? Is this how you pictured your horror movie podcast going?
Pretty much.
Yes.
Yeah.
A lot of uses of the phrase labia. That's pretty scientific. Wow. I don't think I can get you pregnant. We've been trying for a full year now, I say to her. It's from the perspective of a Goomba. Wow. Anyway, what are you guys up to?
In this version of the Mushroom Kingdom, the Goomba smashes you.
Yeah, he does.
Oh.
Oh wow.
I don't like him.
This is so favorite horror villain all time.
Villain.
So anyway,
We're gonna make you transition out of this. We're gonna transition hard.
yeah, I'll turn the light back on because I'm worried about Goomba labias.
Yeah.
Wait, it was a Goomba labia? We didn't get that part of. That was a wrinkle of detail that.
Well, I mean, I could open it back up if you really wanted me to. It wasn't clear to me like who we were seeing it through the eyes of a Goomba, but I couldn't really tell who was on the other side of the equation. So it could have been Princess Peach, could have been another Goomba, could have been Lady Dimitrescu. I don't know. But would you ask me my favorite horror film?
Favorite horror
Villain.
Villain. Favorite horror villain. It's interesting. These are like things you would think I would just know these things off like immediately off the top of my head, but
It's not like you spend time on it.
yeah, I talk about these things a lot. You think I would just know right off the bat. Horror villain. Well, I guess I kind of find myself in where I would have had it. What I would have said had you asked me my favorite horror movie anyway. Because I'm always going to love Nicholson in The Shining, which is also my favorite horror film.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, that's where I was leaning too.
And
yeah.
who do you want him to kiss?
Oh, okay. Interesting. I like where you're going with this. Who would I want Jack Nicholson in The Shining?
In The Shining, yeah.
I would want Jack Nicholson in The Shining to kiss Jack Nicholson in Anger Management. What's that?
Little horror comedy crossover. Oh.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think they can work it out though.
They have some things in common.
Well, that's it, because what I've done here is not only made a great romantic encounter, but maybe we could actually help. They could actually help each other in this. Jack Torrance is dealing with a lot.
And Buddy Guy
in anger management specialize in helping people who are dealing with a lot. You could save lives. That's the kind of things I think about.
And Jack Torrance actually in the film version of The Shining is a closeted. It does have issues with closeted homosexuality. It's noted. Do you guys know of the tells in the movie at all?
Does it have anything to do with the bear mask fellatio scene?
It has something to do with that, and also, this is like a small wrinkle, but you'll find it on every single horror movie listicle on YouTube. It's less special that I know this now. That's why I'm trying to mention that. And right before he rents the hotel out for the season, he is reading a Playgirl magazine in the lobby of the hotel before he goes into the office.
Really? I actually did not know that.
He's reading like a maniac. He just has a Playgirl magazine, pictures of dicks out on display, and he's reading it in the hotel. And there's 6 or 7 other big tells that his aggression towards his family is due to his closeted homosexuality, and it's coming out in The Shining. It's a big thing in Kubrick's Shining.
Wow, you are not you're not kidding here. I never noticed this, number one, but I'd never even heard mention of that specific detail in the film. I know, I'm looking at the shot from it right now. He really is just chilling in the lobby, drinking a Coke, reading the Playgirl. Good for him.
Yeah, like a maniac. It's not it's that he's reading porno in public, he's got a fucking entertainment magazine, like a People magazine or a Forbes, and he's just thumbing through it casual.
Well, do you think he brought it with him, or was that what was available to him at the time?
If it was available, then that's... I think he definitely had to bring that with him.
You think 100%. He brought it? Because I'm saying if it was there, when in Rome, you pick up your Playgirl.
I do as the Romans say.
The shot I'm looking at is pretty funny because it really, he does look engrossed in it. So it's like, he's
into it. Yeah.
Yeah. It's not an accident that he's looking at that. He's
it's not. Time. It's just what's next to the toilet. No, that's the thing. It's like.
It's not in the toilet. He's in the lobby.
In the lobby, the open air lobby, just fucking porno mag.
Checking out Whole Hog Monthly, and that, which is his right to do.
It's like fucking Solid Snake just left it on the ground there for him.
And good for I don't think this was mentioned in. There's this documentary about The Shining called Room 237. Have you seen that before?
Oh yeah, they mentioned 237 actually.
Yeah, it's mostly nonsense, right? You think wow, somebody's cracked the code on The Shining, and it's they're very thin sort of fan theories to be well, Danny's wearing an Apollo sweater, so that means Stanley Kubrick directed the falsified moon landing film. It's not. There's nothing very concrete in there. I'm surprised. This might be in there. I don't remember that. I certainly forgot this ever happened. So, that's amazing. You just told me something that I never knew about The Shining. As many times as I've watched that, I've seen him sit there and read that who knows how many times, and I never noticed that it was a Playgirl magazine that he was reading.
So what I need now is a de-aged Jack Nicholson as Jack Torrance and a modern age Jack Nicholson as Buddy Guy in a feel-good rom-com where he helps him resolve his issues and move on. And it's like a time travel movie, maybe. We're gonna get really weird with this. We're gonna go full on Hamlet too. Time travel Buddy Guy back to help Jack Torrance so his family lives.
Yeah, you got to start with being honest with yourself, and I think that's Jack. I'm actually very fascinated by that layer to it because I read The Shining too many years ago. I've only read it one time, but I read it many years ago, and there's stuff in there that certainly didn't make it to the movie. Like Stephen King is, sort of infamously not a fan of the Kubrick movie, which is fascinating because there's certainly an argument to be made that it's the best adaptation of any Stephen King's work, but he felt the differences in it kept it so separate from what he was trying to achieve with his novel that he thought it was an affront to what he had done. I don't remember that layer at all, so that must have been a Kubrick thing, or that was literally.
It was a Kubrick thing. It was totally a Kubrick thing.
Somebody somewhere in the film came up with that, and I never really heard that layer to it. So that's actually very fascinating. I love that you shared that with me because I didn't know that.
Well, and you've read the Shining. Have you read any of his other like super long books, like It or like any of the other ones that are like over 500 pages?
So with King, I've not read as many as I would like to have. I would love to be somebody who's read all of his books, which is obviously a huge undertaking. The one I've read a couple. I've read a couple of the big ones. I've still never read It. Like I think that's the benchmark for like Stephen King going nuts and writing 800 pages or whatever it is, right? Like half, he wrote half that book and Cocaine wrote the other half.
Well, that's the thing is I was going to mention like anything pre-2000 is just like spot the part where Stephen King started doing cocaine. Seriously. He was doing cocaine the entire time, but start the part where he started doing cocaine seriously to finish it.
Yeah. Doesn't he like not even remember directing Maximum Overdrive? Like he credits
Nope. He totally doesn't.
Cocaine as the director of the film. It certainly shows. By
the way, Solid Snake just throwing out those trying to suss out the homosexuals in 1980. Glad he became more tolerant later. But here's the thing: I really want a version of The Shining where like Snake was under a cardboard box in the hotel the entire time.
Yeah, you could do like a stealth mission through the Overlook Hotel.
Like, people are just making me want to yes and the shit out of everything.
But yeah, no, I've read a couple King books, not as many as I would like. I do love to read. I know like a lot of people, as the Juice is doing so brilliantly right now, he's displaying all those physical media copies he has in the background there. It looks looking great. It's a great display. Whereas I have like this like shut-ins display of like piles of books behind me.
I close the door to my closet.
Yeah, I do love books. I love horror literature for sure. I love novels. I haven't read as many Stephen King books as I'd like.
Have you read Needful Things?
I have not. Would you recommend it?
Yes. It's my favorite Stephen King book and my least favorite film adaptation that was theatrically released.
Yeah, King. That's the double-edged sword of being the most adapted author of all time. Is that like a lot of them are pretty bad, But the time that they're good,
yeah,
pretty goddamn great.
Desperation is arguably a better book. The movie is definitely worse, but it was made for TV, and Ron Perlman is amazing in the lead role.
Yeah. So I read one of his more recent ones I really liked was The Outsider. Had you read that one?
I have not. I've taken a step away from this book. So
yeah, Jason Bateman adapted it into a HBO series, which also is really good. I like that one a lot because it's got sort of this crime thriller sort of half and half.
I saw the show.
Yeah, and I like the show a lot. I thought they did a really great job of adapting that one. And I think they might do more. But yeah, I liked that one a lot. I think he came out with like a crime novel, I think, this year too, Stephen King. I know he used to release those under a pseudonym, I think, but he just obviously everybody knows the jig is up. But I think he put a crime novel out this year I'd like to check out too. But I've been so big, I can't read as much as I'd like to. I love to read, but it's so hard to put a time aside to read sometimes. To give yourself that availability.
I feel that you have to consult your client with a lot of movie studies, things like that.
Right, which and by the way, Rick Radis he sends his regards for whatever those are worth. He did want to be here. Right now, he's doing this whole he's trying to get across state lines to buy these wacky fireworks. You can't get them here, so like it's a whole thing. I let him borrow my car, and like he's supposed to be back yesterday, so like now I'm on the show.
I know a good fireworks dealer. I'll reach out to him.
Perfect. Yeah, you'll have to send him to me because he doesn't have a phone, but I let him borrow my phone when he needs it. It's this whole thing. He lives this very nomadic lifestyle, and I support that as best as I can. You know,
Wait, didn't he hook up with Frances McDormand?
Hook up with Frances McDormand?
Yeah, I'm thinking about Nomads, and like, I think I remember hearing that somewhere.
You know, Rick Radis, a lot of his sort of romantic.
I know he doesn't kiss and tell, but
no, he certainly does kiss and tell, I would say. But at a certain point, it's hard to differentiate what was reality and what was fan fiction, you know. And at a certain point, it also it doesn't really matter anymore, you know. It just becomes part of the canon.
Yeah,
and you know,
I remember hearing that like in he's both in Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, where they green screened out Tobey Maguire, and then also in Leaving Las Vegas, where they green screened out Nicolas Cage and green screened him out for those people, for you know those performances not being studio worthy. Legendary man, that Rick Radis.
Are you suggesting you would like to green screen him in post-production to this show?
We don't have any sort of production budget. I don't know if you heard that any donations to streamlabs.com/whattheshow/tip do go 100% to charity. This month we are benefiting the Trevor Project. Otherwise, we might have something for, say, production budget or that kind of thing, but
yeah, fair enough. I mean, I think the Rager is with us in a spiritual sense at all times.
So
he's with us always.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Wherever there are bath salts.
I have a question for the Rager, which I was hoping to ask, but you're the next best person to ask. Ever since Mike in our chat told us one of you were coming on, we were just talking about our love of the phrase he likes to use, Daddy-O. And I haven't heard Daddy-O in years. Just somebody naturally just say, "Hey, Daddy-O." So do you know what spurred that on to be kind of one of his catchphrases, to be like, Daddy-O?
Yeah, with Daddy-O, the classics always come back, right? But you need somebody to really spearhead the movement. You need somebody who can really embody that,
right.
Because if somebody tries to and their heart's not really in it, and they can't really embody it, when you see it, you're like, that dude's a phony. I'm not buying it. That's not going to catch on. But with Rager, it was like, I got the sense, because first of all, I don't really know how old Rick is.
Right.
I bet him.
Holy shit. What is his skincare regimen? He could be 35, he could be 48, he could be 100.
His skincare regimen's very good. Did you see his last match? I mean, he was in the midst of it.
He put on that spa mask for 35 minutes.
Yeah. It was mayhem over here because we didn't realize that was the day of the match. So he was in the zone. He was in a separate zone than the one that they wanted him to be in. So it was a whole thing. It was really chaotic. Obviously he got the job done, as he's prone to do. That's all he's done. But he's got a great skincare regimen. I don't know how old he is at the end of the day. But you need somebody to bring the classics back, and Rick embodies that. He's an old soul, right? He's an old flame. And Daddy-O also very conveniently rhymes with his win-loss record, which is 2-0. And even as he continues that journey, it very conveniently rhymes with 3-0, and it'll rhyme with 4-0, 5-0, 6-0, 7-0. And as you keep going on and on and on and on, Daddy-O just has that perfect symmetry with what he's also doing in his professional career. So
look at you representing your client.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm really invested in this. His success, I like to think to some degree, is my success. It's also very much Bobby Cucci's success, but as his agent or his ragent, as we've collectively kind of branded. My biggest job is to get him back in this seat when it's time to play a match. Like that's mostly what I do is just make sure he's sitting right here. Because again, he doesn't really have any worldly possessions, a computer, internet connection, webcam, a chair to sit in. He just, again, like I said, he's kind of nomadic in that way. But it's my responsibility to get him right here and make sure he's ready for the game. And so far, we've been objectively successful in that goal. So I'm proud of the work we're doing over here.
So what do you say to rumors that Rick the Rager Radis is actually a member of the Flaming Lips?
The Flaming Lips, the band?
Yeah.
I mean, I would need to, again, like I let him just kind of go off on his trips, and as long as he gets back here in time, I don't know what he does all the time in those interims. I mean, I would say, hopefully. Bear
in mind, there's like 80 people who just come and go, like in one of their shows on stage. So it's a possibility.
I think you could probably find some sort of grainy old photograph from like 20 years ago, and if you sort of enhance on the background, you could find him out there like hitting the bongos pretty hard.
Nice.
It wouldn't be the most surprising thing. I don't know that to be true, but
so confirmed on what the show, Rick the Rager Radis is a former member of the Flaming Lips.
I would say at the very least he was. I don't know if he is, but he definitely was.
Has been at some point.
Yeah, and could be again. So keep an eye out if you're going to.
We might just have to.
Yeah.
Make sure that goes on their Wikipedia page by the end of the evening.
Yeah, there is a wiki that has Rick Radis in it. It's so hilarious to me.
Wait.
I think it's the Collider wiki, right? It's like
yeah. Jacob Woodhaven has one too. I wonder.
It keeps all. It's like the grand Bible of everything that's happening. And
I got to get in there and edit Jacob's and just add the most ridiculous things to it. Be like, he likes wearing like plaid socks and just random like garbage crap like that. Like
that's a great point. Yeah, because there's not like much about Rick and his. Like it has his win-loss record.
Well, we gotta add that.
Which is 2-0 Daddy-O if you're keeping track at home. But
it's a 2-0 Daddy-O.
Yeah, I've tried to do his voice before. It's just embarrassing, so I won't do it now. But
did I do it pretty good?
It was pretty good. I mean, I would say work on it a little bit more, but I would say it's a good start. I mean, he'll definitely get a kick that you did that when I show him this later. But that's a good point because all it really has is like the objective information of what Rick's doing. I would love to get in there and kind of fill out his backstory and biography. I mean, it would be the longest article in the entire Collider wiki within a few days' time. But I would love to get it. I would love to get the credentials for that.
So I want to pitch you an idea, and if Rick would be okay with it, and if you would be okay with asking him,
sure.
And just let people know if you want to do this. If you would be ready, if you'd be okay for people writing him letters and maybe like him doing an occasional correspondence, like a letter to Santa Claus kind of thing to the Rager. And maybe he answers a couple letters to a couple of us lucky kids hoping for hopes and dreams and raging on. If he would be okay with that, I think that would be something that would be just so amazing for him to bestow upon us.
That's a $1 million idea right there, AJ. Actually.
I don't think it's gonna make. It's an idea that might yield him tens of dollars.
Yeah, no, I just mean in a real, in a figurative sense. That's $1 million idea. I don't think it in the real sense. It's probably not much more than a $2 idea, but in terms of how much I like it, that's $1 million idea. That's good. Yeah. And you know what? Here's the thing about like Santa Claus. It's a very exclusive club to get Santa to give a shit. Like you gotta be on all year. Can't slip up. Gotta, there's a whole, there's a lot of responsibility that comes with that. Rick will, Rick's like, it's kind of like a messianic figure in that way. It's like he'll hang out with the dregs of society. It's his preference, really. But like you can come at him with any energy you want, he's going to give it right back to you. I think that's a great idea. I think we could help a lot of people like that.
I think so. And if there's any developments in that, like, let me be the first to know. I will write a letter to the Rager. Real quick, I think we are going to close out the show for the night. But beforehand, I am going to read a Streamlabs donation from one Lindsey Graham. I believe this is a young woman from Portland, Oregon. Lindsey Graham donated $20 saying, "Look, I've actually supported Jason for a long time. He helps control premarital sex. He's a good man. Now, sure, his methods can be extreme, but someone has to show that someone can do mass murder without firearms. And for that, Lindsey Graham of Portland, Oregon, we salute you."
Salute.
Absolutely.
So, I think this has been What the Show for the evening, ladies and gentlemen, and we thank you so much. Tonight we have raised over $100 for the Trevor Project, and we're going to keep that going all through the month. By the way, the winner will of a raffle for all of our donations will be receiving a signed a copy of Love is Love, a comic book that was edited by Mark Andreyko, and 100% of the proceeds do go to LGBTQ charities that they will be receiving that from me. Yeah, we're What the Show. This has been a crazy night. It's been amazing. Mr. Taylor Cleek, where can people find you?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, first of all, thanks for having me on. It's been a blast. This has been a really fun time. As I mentioned several times throughout the show, I host a horror movie podcast called Really Scared. You can find that on the Watt Real Entertainment YouTube channel. That's WATREEL Entertainment on YouTube as well as on Twitch. We stream live every Thursday night, 8 p.m. Eastern time. Again, I've said it. Format of the show is we have a new guest on every single week. They pick out a horror film and we discuss it at length. You never know who could be on. Like I mentioned before, if you like Schmodown, and I imagine people in the audience may like the Schmodown. We've had a lot of people from that arena in. We've had William Viviani, JTE, Video Drew, Gold Leader. On the 10th of this month, we'll have Tyrant Ty Lieberman joining us to talk about A Nightmare on Elm Street. The next week, June 17th, we'll have the outlaw John Roca on to talk about David Cronenberg's The Fly. It's a fucking awesome show. I think it's a great show. You should check it out. Again, live every Thursday at on YouTube, Watt Real Entertainment at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. And, of course, if you like the Schmodown, make sure to stay tuned to my client, the Rager Rick Radis, competing there as a member of the Finstock Exchange, 2-0 Daddy-O. We're going to keep it rocking real hard. That's where you can find me, brother.
Love it.
All right. And Juice, where can people find you?
You can find me eating mac and cheese. That's about it.
And you can find me
How about
doing
you?
a totally wasted review, like a really bad drunk review of Mandy within the next 30 days with Justin the Juice on this channel.
Oh yeah, we'll definitely watch that. Yeah,
Yes.
we should plug tomorrow night. So I actually watched the Mighty Ducks 1, the Mighty Ducks 2, the Mighty Ducks 3, and I am on the last episode of the TV show. Started it on Sunday to get ready for the Mighty Ducks character tier list show that we are doing tomorrow night, if I'm correct.
Yes, tomorrow night at just 2 hours earlier, we will be doing a tier list of the entirety of Mighty Ducks characters. We'll be judging children in a fashion so strict that we haven't seen it since the Hunger Games.
But yes,
Talking about teammates of the Mighty Ducks. Justin, please talk about your Patreon and your channel.
Oh, you don't. Well, if you want to if you're into the Keytar stuff. Did just do the Finstock Exchange theme on Keytar. May or may not have been told to do that by a certain somebody. But if you want to have me do a specific song, get on Patreon and I'll make it for you. I did Separate Ways for AJ. I've done a few songs for other people. It's awesome. It's fun.
Oh, yeah.
But,
And before I sign off, John Getz says, please get James Rolfe, aka Angry Video Game Nerd as it gets. He's a huge horror fan and one of the nicest guys on YouTube. Yes, the Cinema Massacre YouTube channel has 2-point-something million subscribers on YouTube. They will be here next week in its entirety. And in the meantime, between now and then, you can find me, AJ Lancaster, at _Lancaster _AJ on Twitter. You can also find the Airbud Cinematic Universe debuting soon. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been What the Show, and this has been one of my favorite editions. You guys have a great night. We love you.